Great seeing my next guest back in action. He's going to be taking on Jared Gooden coming up here at UFC 255 on November 21st. It is Alan Jouban back here on the program. Alan, how's it going?
Going good, man. Like I was saying before we jumped on the air, I'm just things are well. I'm healthy. Things are going good in training and in life, and I'm just happy to be training again and doing that and making that my primary focus and my goal. And I get up every morning with that focus of getting that 1% better every day, and I thrive off of that. And so it's been fun to be in that camp environment again, where I have that purpose every day, and things are going well, man.
Good to hear. It's been a bit since we've seen you in the cage. Obviously, April 2019 was your last fight. I know you had the ACL injury. How difficult has this last year been? I know you've had injuries before, but being out for that long and then COVID hit, it's probably been a little bit frustrating.
It was a kick in the balls, man. I mean, you talk about the fight. It was a fight that I wasn't happy with the results. I thought I got kind of robbed on it. But then following that, I get back into training a couple weeks later, and I'm feeling a pain in my hand. And somehow I think my finger got caught in the cage when I took him down, and I tore the ligament off my bone in my hand. So I had to have hand surgery following that fight. And then once I recouped from that, got back to training, I tore my ACL. And the ACL, as many people know, is well, I'll say this: I've had more injuries than most people. ACL is my least favorite. It's the hardest. It's one of the longest recoveries. It's learning to walk again. It's learning to get your athleticism back again, and then rehoming all your skills again. So it was. People kept asking me, "What's up, man? Did you retire? Are you still fighting?" And I was like, "Man, there's nothing I could do. I've had 2 surgeries, and I've been recouping from those for the last year and a half. And then, to be honest, I've probably been ready for a couple months now. It was just kind of finding a happy place with the UFC where I said, look, I'm ready to go. And they were like, well, we're booked up right now. And so they're trying to find the right card, the right time. And I was just, as soon as they gave me a date and an opponent, I said, yes, right away. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Had you had the opportunity to go to Fight Island, would you have done that for your return fight, or do you like the fact that you're going to be fighting in Vegas?
Yeah, so it's interesting, man. The idea of Fight Island is fun. To be a part of it, I would love to say that, yeah, man, I fought on that Fight Island, that crazy thing that has existed in 2020. I would love to just be a part of history. But it doesn't make good business sense, Fight Island. Fight Island is far. I live in LA, right? So I have a 1-hour flight to Vegas. I go to Vegas on a Tuesday. I fight on a Saturday. I'm home on a Sunday morning. I can see my family. And nothing has to change drastically. But I go to Fight Island. I have to go to Vegas, quarantine. I have to take a 17-hour flight to Abu Dhabi. I have to go out there for probably about 8 to 10 days so I'd acclimate to the time change, the weather. And then I have to fight at 3 in the morning. And you do all that, and you're putting all your cornermen through all that as well. Plus, you're probably paying more money in hotel fees and flights and taxes fighting in other countries. It's so much more. So the idea of Fight Island at first, I was like, yeah, sign me up. But then when Vegas came about, I was like, you know what? Every time I've been able to fight at the Staples Center in LA, or fight in San Diego, or fight in Vegas and drive home that same night if I wanted to, it's been so much better because I'm home. I don't have to get on. And the worst thing about fighting is people don't ever think about this, but when you fight and get busted up pretty badly, the worst thing you could do is get on a 17-hour flight, right? And you balloon up. And I've had that happen so many times where I got in a scrap in Brazil one time with Worley Alves, and then our flight home was 3 connections to get home. It took 24 hours of flying. By the time I got home, I couldn't walk. My ankles, my face, everything was ballooned up. So I'm happy to be in Vegas to answer the question.
Yes, and you brought up a lot of good points there in terms of the travel and all that. And like I said, you've been out for a while too. You don't have to deal with all that travel on your return back. So I think you definitely made the right call there. You talked a bit about the injury. When were you actually able to get back to training full time? Because I know it's one thing to do the recovery and all that, but it's another thing to actually go full force in training. At what point was that happening for you?
Yeah, I wanted to probably at the beginning. I was calling my manager. Look, I'm ahead of schedule. At 7 months, let's start talking to the UFC. And then, I'm doing my physical rehab at a place called Sports Rehab LA. And they're great over there. They see some of the highest level athletes. There'll be Terrell Owens on the table and, all these NFL. And so they know this stuff over there. And they were kind of guiding me, saying, look, honestly, these days we've learned that with the ACL, the knee surgeries, waiting past that 8-9 month mark is the smartest thing, because at that stage, at 7-8-9 month mark, you still have an 80% chance of re-tearing it, because you want to get back to doing the things that you could do, but you're not quite there. And I learned exactly what they meant, because I could do all the physical therapy stuff, but when I got back into fighting, I didn't feel like my just quite as athletic or sharp or quick as some of these younger guys, and my switch kicks and the little fine-tuning things weren't quite there. And I learned that, you know what, taking that extra month 9, month 10, month 11, I was able to get that athleticism and that strength in those little areas back, those muscle fibers, so they're kind of reconnecting in areas that I didn't know existed. And it was the best thing I could have done. I ended up having, I guess it was about a full year recovery. And then now I feel as good as new again. I'm ready to go. It's still, anytime you have an injury, it's somewhat in your head. But I've been training for months now. I've been ready to go. I mean, by the time I fight, this will be about a 4-month training camp. So it's been somewhat of a grueling camp in a way.
And just one more thing. I saw also, if I'm not mistaken, you have a new UFC contract, right? How many fights is that for?
Yeah, so we actually did that not too long after my last fight. And we went ahead and did a 5-fight contract with the UFC, and I was grateful for that. To be honest, I don't know if I will be able to fulfill that. I would love to, and I'm going to try to be as transparent as I can with the UFC, because I owe them so much, and I have a great relationship with them. But I don't want the expectations to be that I will fulfill this 5-fight contract in a certain amount of time, because it's getting there. It's getting there. I'll be 39 a couple of days after my fight, and the age isn't so much as much as it's just, like I said, we talked about the injuries. I've had so many injuries, and I want to have all of me and my body and my mind there when my fighting career is over, when my competitive career is over. So we got to see. I mean, I just really don't know. I want to take this fight as kind of a comeback fight, because it's been a while. Get in there, and I feel like I've added so much to my game during this time. It's exciting for me. And I want to take this fight and just see how my body feels after. Have my coach give me an honest evaluation of my performance, and then make the decision after that. How many fights do we want to go? If it goes bad, then I'll be like, man, maybe I don't have it anymore. If it goes great, I go, you know what, I've got 3 fights. So it's really, this is going to be a judging scale for me to see where I'm at, being that it's been a year and a half since I've fought.
And I think the opponent's a good test for that. You're fighting a newcomer in Jared Gooden, who also, he was supposed to make his debut. He had an injury. He ended up pushing it to this fight. I'm sure you've had a chance to assess him as an opponent. How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I like it, man. I mean, I know that's the common thing, I like it. I'm better than him in every area, whatever. That's what all fighters say. But for me, he's a good opponent, I think. I don't like guys I don't like guys that run too much. And I'm not trying to throw my last opponent under the bus, but stylistically, guys that they don't want to. And look, I'm a counter striker, so I understand the counter striking game. I've been called that I run, but I run and I attack. I mean, that's why I've got 4 fight of the night bonuses. That's why I was one of the highest knockdown percentages in the welterweight division in history. So people can't say that I run, but I'm calculated and I counter. I felt that my last opponent, I was chasing him and he didn't want to engage. And I don't fight well against guys like that, because it's just, I like to, we sit in the pocket, we have counter striking, we engage. I like fan-friendly fights. And I feel like my opponent, Jared Gooden, will do that. He's a big, strong guy. He seems to like to push forward. He likes getting that momentum behind him. And so it's my job to take that momentum away and steal that momentum and use it to my advantage. But I think his stylistic, the way that he fights and my style, I think it makes for a good, exciting fight.
And in terms of training camp, I know you do a bit of cross training. How have you structured things ahead of this fight?
I feel like I found my best coaches, my best camp. I'm not changing anything drastically. I've got Saxon Muay Thai, Julio Estrada, I've been with him for a while. We do great things together. We understand each other. Kenny Johnson and Bolt Wrestling and Black House, we do great things together. They understand what I need, and we add it together. But getting older, I had a lot of time to think, and I go, what should I do more when you're an older fighter? And it's fight smart. I've been in the wars, and I go, I've had so many wars, even before the UFC and the RFA and the LFA. I was fight of the night, fight of the year. And I was like, well, that's great, but you're getting paid $2,000. You don't want to lose the piece of you in these small shows for small money. And now I'm past that. And I was talking to an old friend of mine who's a boxing coach, Robert Sally, and he was talking to me about the careers of some of these fighters, Arturo Gatti. And Arturo Gatti was known. Actually, Dana White made the comparison in my UFC debut of that I was like an Arturo Gatti. I went out there and I put on this hell of exciting fight. But he was saying, Arturo Gatti in the second stage of his career actually had the most impactful part of his career. He had the right matchups, he had better training, and he made the most amount of money and a resurgence in his career in that latter half. And it inspired me. And so I got with my boxing coach, and we just started drilling the subtleties. Because I used to be kind of against boxing because I was such a Muay Thai guy. I was like, I don't want to roll my head and dip because I'm a distance fighter. I'm a kicker and all this stuff. But then I just put all that down and I embraced it. I said, let me embrace the subtleties of feints and head movement and angles and everything else that goes into it, and add that to what I do already. And so it's just made me understand fighting a little bit better. And I thought I knew fighting very well. I mean, I do some analyst stuff, and I've been fighting for 15 years. But once you really kind of dive into a new lens at looking at it, you start to see other openings and see other things. So I'm excited about it. I've kept a lot of my coaches. I added my boxing coach, and sports rehab has continued to help me not only do physical therapy, but get me ready in strength and conditioning, and my other coach, Taylor Ramsdale, in strength and conditioning. And I'm ready to go, man. I mean, honestly, I wish they would call and say, look, we're going to put you on the card next weekend or something, because I'm ready to go now. I'm really ready to rock and roll.
I can feel it. I like the anticipation here that we're going to have for this fight. It's going to be awesome. You talked about the coaches there. What about training partners? Who have you mainly got to work with for this camp?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of great guys over at Saxon's Muay Thai that are probably not UFC type names, but a lot of fine-tuned strikers. So I go to Saxon and get my striking sparring in, and then I go to Black House, and there's a lot of great MMA guys over there, and I get it in. But I probably don't have a lot of big name, notable, worthy. I know I'm forgetting some of my guys, and they're gonna.
No worries. There's probably a lot of different guys. You don't want to miss anyone out, right? I can understand.
There's a bunch of guys at Black House, and there's good bodies. There's a bunch of guys at Saxon Muay Thai. And between those two gyms, I kind of go MMA stylistic at Black House, and I'll go to Saxon and kind of get a little bit more of a striking look. And I kind of balance it back and forth with those two. But I'm not going as heavy in the sparring anymore, because it's just, I've been through the wars. I know what I could do. And so now these days I have heavy days in sparring, but it's definitely sparring 1 day a week. There's not 2 day a week sparring anymore. There's not 6-7 rounds. It's get 3 solid rounds, maybe a fourth, maybe a fifth to fine tune something, and call it a day. Pull the plug, save the body to go and train and learn new skills on the Monday or the next time you train again.
How do you see this fight unfolding on November 21st?
It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. I have not fought in front of no crowd yet. I get to go. I'm actually going to be working the desk for the Anderson Silva fight October 31st, so I'm very excited about that. But I'm also excited to go and absorb some of the energy of that crowdless arena, right? And to kind of get a feel. And I hope to get my feet wet inside the octagon and come back to LA after doing that and keep that energy inside of me and continue my visualization. And my visualization, it just has me meeting Jared in the middle of the octagon and bleeding him out. The name of the game, me and my coach, my Muay Thai coach, Julio, we love numbers. And now and then, one of these Instagram sites, they send me these numbers about, hit and not getting hit, basically. Like less damage that I've taken, the more significant strikes that I've landed, the knockdowns that I've landed, where I'm ranked in this category. And I love those things. I strive for those things. So that would be the goal. I mean, to hit and not get hit and then finish him in this fight, that would be the goal that I'm looking for. He's a big, strong guy. and he's got a great record, and it's going to be a challenge. But I feel very confident. I feel confident that where I'm at right now, mentally, physically, with my coaching game, and ready to go back in there and just make a splash again.
It's kind of my impression that you just want to see how this fight goes, and then you'll sort of decide the next step, whether that's when you're going to fight next or whatever. Or does part of you say, I missed a lot of time, I want to get back in there as soon as I can if you come out of this unscathed?
There's a huge part of me that thinks that. Honestly, I wish I truthfully knew the answer, but I don't, because if I went in there and had the best fight of my life and I was able to smoke Jared in the first round and I get out of there and I'm unscathed and it was a first round knockout, I mean, I might look at my coaches and go, I'm in shape. I'm ready. Let's go meet Sean Shelby at the bar, because we know that's where he's going to be.
That's
Let's
right.
go tell him, let's get on another card in 4 weeks, man. Let's do this. Let's keep this momentum going, because it took me 2 years to get healthy, to get to this point. Now I'm healthy. I'm fine-tuned. I'm in fight shape. It's a shame to throw that away and say, I'm going to get drunk for 2 weeks and then get fat, and then I got to shed those pounds and get in shape again. So it's tempting. It really is tempting to do that, but I don't know. Like I said, I want to see how my body performs, how I perform, and it's just really, like I said, the last couple of fights I haven't escaped without injuries, without a broken foot and Ben Saunders, a ligament in my hand, my last fight, and so on and so on. So if I could get out of that fight unscathed and uninjured, it'd be something I have to talk over with my coaches and my family.
Alan, it's great to see you back, man. UFC 255, November 21st. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
If anyone wants to check me out, my social media is at Alan Jouban. Instagram, Twitter, everything like that. You can check it out. My sponsors will be on there as well. So check that out, guys.